over the weekend of October 2nd, 2 weeks ago, we had maybe 12 people get shot in one weekend, right? So let me read the news story to you. So multiple people were shot in Sacramento on Saturday in four separate shootings, according to law enforcement. 12 people were shot in separate shootings. Now, one of the shootings, which is really, really heartbreaking, and one of the reasons why I want to talk about this today, because we got to figure something out, y'all. So one of the shootings left a 9-year-old girl dead. I think her name was Michaela. Like, R.I.P. to that young sister, man. That's beyond tragic to hear that news, right? Now, she was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting during a family gathering near Mama Marks Park on Saturday around 1 p.m. according to the Sacramento Police Department. Now, they found three victims while responding to the reports of a shooting at Hayward and Roanoke. The 9-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene. A woman and a 6-year-old child, y'all. So these niggas is out here shooting wildly in the park or wherever, and they actually hitting our babies. You feel me? Now, the 6-year-old child was taken to the hospital. I think she's gonna live and everything's gonna be okay with her. The woman is in critical condition while the child is described as stable. Police says officers learned that a man who was shot drove himself to a local hospital. This is all the same situation. He is stable, but it's unclear if he is connected to the actual park shooting. Another disheartening situation, a 17-year-old brother in the second shooting. A 17-year-old brother was found shot and killed in a car by Sacramento police officers on Saturday around 3:30 p.m. Officers responded to the 83rd block of Jackson Road after reports of a car crash into a pole. Officers discovered the driver was shot at least once. Officers tried to save him, but he died at the scene. Now, in kind of a side note, this is something that wasn't necessary, to my understanding, wasn't necessarily something that happened in our community, but it was a travesty nonetheless. Now, another shooting happened at an Afghan market in the Arden Arcade area. A gunman shot shoppers inside the East Market in restaurant before turning the gun on himself, and this is according to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. 3 people were injured and taken to a local hospital, and the gunman died at the scene. Now, in a fourth shooting, 3 people were injured in North Sacramento and taken to a local hospital. Sacramento police said they found a woman and 2 men with injuries around 6:45 p.m. Excuse me, family, near the 3400 block of Maple Street on Saturday. 1 man is in critical condition, while the other 2 are considered stable. Police do not believe the incident is connected to the other shootings. Okay, so this is what I want to get into. This is like the crux of what I want to talk about today, family. So here's the thing. This is happening in my city right now. Unfortunate. Community organizers and people who believe in doing the right thing have been coming out and marching, protesting, trying to create programs to kind of get rid of this. The officials in the Del Paso Heights area where where the little girl was shot, they were mentioning how they are going to attempt to use the political system to get a park, like a community center in that area, or more things for kids to do, right? So from a systematic perspective, I guess they're attempting to right some of these wrongs by correcting the system, giving us more resources, right? So when I look at all of this, look, family, we need to understand that the tribal differences that a lot of these gangs have been going through, because I see people tell me, well, with everything going on with George Floyd and the police brutality and how we're being treated by cops right now, how can these young dudes even fix their face to be doing all this violence and fighting? I'm like, man, look, we have a silent war, this is my opinion, like a silent war against melanated people in this country. But the gangs in our communities have been going to war for a pretty long time themselves, right? I mean, so when we look at a lot of these young dudes, and I want to preference this before I kind of go in, we look at a lot of these young dudes, and a lot of them are absent of fathers. A lot of them are absent of the necessary resources, like the community was saying. We need to get more resources there to them. A lot of them had to deal with just horrible childhoods, right? Keep it in mind, and we can never take this off the table. Keeping in mind that we can't discount the systematic issues that we still deal with today. Like the prison industrial complex, I just mentioned that some of these young men don't have fathers. A lot of their fathers are in jail for crimes that maybe they should have went to jail for, but maybe not have gotten life. Some of these dudes got fathers who were victims of the war on drugs. So they may have had 2 really serious offenses and got felonies, and that third offense that wasn't as serious ended up getting them life in prison, right? We all know. I read a story last week about a Harvard study that basically showed the amount of Caucasian people that are in jail compared to us. Like we're disproportionately affected by the criminal justice system, right? Everybody understands this. So we need to, I'm not just gonna come down on my young brothers completely when I'm aware of some of the situations that caused them to get in the circumstances they're in now, right? So I completely understand that, and I try to be as understanding of that and as diplomatic when it comes to those issues as much as possible, because my brothers, different men that I know a lot of men who've been affected by the criminal justice system. Some did shit wrong, some of them unfairly, but when I think about it, even some of the dudes who did stuff wrong, I mean, they were coming from environments where they had no resources, where they didn't really have parents that looked after them, right? So we have it's a real convoluted issue with the police and with black community in general. But at the end of the day, check it out, family. This is how I feel about it now. With everything I just said being the truth, in 2020, we need to figure out a way to stop this shit. Like in 2020, of course, we can decide that we want to use the political system to help us out. Like we want to vote in the right person. We want to go to our city officials and see what they can do to help out. We're never gonna remove that avenue from being effective, or if they want to help or whatever the case may be, right? But in my opinion, family, if we're gonna stop all these killings, if we're gonna stop all this violence, this shit has to be done with us. This shit has to be done with our community, because of course, seeing these young people get killed, when I go to social media, when I go on the internet, I'm seeing the outrage, right? How none of us like this shit. Everybody is completely against the killings. Everybody's talking about the young dudes who did it, all this shit, right? But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we have this same mentality all year round, family, because we can't negate the fact that nigga shit, like hood shit in our community, that shit's glorified. Let's keep it real. Young dudes who pack guns, young dudes who got a whole bunch of tattoos, young dudes who got their pants hanging down their fucking ass. Some of these young men get glorified in our community. So I need everybody out there to keep this same energy all year round. So when we see a young man, when you know a young man in your community doing wrong shit, whether he your family or not, if you know he's selling dope, if you know he packing a gun and up to no good, how many of us are not confronting him, but coming to this young brother and saying, look, man, I understand what you've been through, but some of this shit gotta stop. How many of us are fully engulfed in allowing our kids to consume any type of hip hop they want to? See? So yes, these young men need to be held accountable. Our politicians need to be held accountable. The systematic racism needs to be put in there as well. But at the end of the day, we need to be accountable for this shit, family. We need to realize that, look, I'm a part of this community, and if I'm glorifying any of the negative traits that put us in these situations, I'm a part of the fucking problem. I had to realize this. Look, my 4 older kids were not raised with me. They were raised in their mom in the south side of Sacramento around a whole bunch of negative shit, right? In my opinion, allowing them just to consume hip hop freely was a mistake. A lot of the music that our children is listening to begets some of this same goddamn behavior. So we can't hear them listening to this music, smiling and smoking weed and chilling, and then when some negative shit pop off, we want to get all upset about it. We want to throw our hands up like, how can this happen? I'm not going to let us, we know how the shit happened. You feel me? Another thing, look, a part of my platform, Melanated Fathers of America, is talking about parenting. It's talking about how to parent right. In my opinion, and I keep saying this, how we start our families is a part of this fucking problem, y'all. Yeah, we got